I started off throwing parties because of a necessity. Lived in houses of my own at 15 or 16 years old. I rented them and I paid for them by throwing house parties. That's what actually brought me into the club promotion world. Wasn't planned on, but that's how it worked out.
That is Tommy Dorfman, veteran promoter and owner of Juice Entertainment. His career began from doing house party hustles at 15 to running one of the region's most powerful entertainment companies.
I threw my first successful solo party in New Jersey in 1997, packed it out with over 1,500 people on a Wednesday night. Nobody partied on Wednesdays. Over time, me and my team started packing almost every single club out we were called to.
From underground parties to some of the region's most successful events, he's demonstrated how determination and intuition can build movements, launch scenes, and shape the way audiences experience music.
It takes a lot of work. People be like, yo, this is awesome, man. This is cool. You just get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to just chill with a celebrity and drink some champagne. Nah, you work your ass off for it. It's all about the grind, the hustle, and that's what it takes.
Today, Tommy outlines the real workflow of live events from planning to execution. You'll understand how promoters shape scenes, build careers, and keep the live music ecosystem running from the shadows. Stick around. I'm Bobby Owsinski, and this is the Inner Circle Podcast. Well, let's start at the beginning, Tommy. So how does one get started as a promoter?
Back in the day, but I come from the house music world before EDM was cool. A lot of us promoters started off, some promoters throwing parties under train tracks. Myself, I started off throwing parties because of a necessity. My mother remarried, it didn't work out well. I lived in houses of my own at 15 or 16 years old. I rented them and I paid for them by throwing house parties, underage house parties, crazy parties, packing them out. And that's what actually brought me into the club promotion world. Wasn't planned on, but that's how it worked out.
So how do you go from planning house parties to then being a club promoter to then doing festivals? What's the progression there? How does that happen?
Yeah, so the progression of a promoter, not very many like myself had started off doing illegal outlaw parties.
What does it take to get established when people begin to trust you with this stuff? Is it just I can bring a lot of people and then they automatically go, oh yeah, okay, go for it?
It takes a lot. So starting off those guest lists, that was nothing. You're just a sub promoter. You're bringing some people in. There's no trust. Then I threw my first successful solo party in New Jersey in 1997, packed it out with over 1,500 people on a Wednesday night when nobody partied on Wednesdays, but I made Wednesday happen when everybody said it wouldn't. After that, people started going, who's this kid Tommy D that's packing out a Wednesday? So then I'd start having club owners call me, and then we'd be working, just not me, but I had a small team at first, 1 or 2 people. Then I built it up over 100 people over years. But we work really hard, 20 hours a day, passing out flyers car to car, outside college campuses, outside nightclubs, and then start packing more nightclubs and more nightclubs. Then I started running a Thursday party, packing that out as one of the most successful parties in New Jersey history. Then as time passed, in progression, I started getting called by all the clubs down the Jersey Shore. We want you to pack the club. And over time, me and my team, through our hard work, started packing almost every single club out we were called to. So if you wanted your club packed, you would call us. You would call me. And we would pack your entire nightclub out. We would pack it out between New York, New Jersey. I was a director of Sound Factory, our legendary nightclub in New York City. Then over time, with a lot of hard work on my team, we started promoting 5 parties, sometimes a night, 6 nights a week, in the thousands and thousands and thousands, sometimes up to 10,000 people. But that trust came from packing other people's clubs out, the owners, going to those clubs, and seeing, wow, this club last week had 50 people. Tommy D came in with his team, definitely. And now probably did 6,000 people, well, legally 3,000 people, because you always go over that. That's how it worked, the firearm code. And that was the trust came from your reputation of packing the clubs out, doing the right thing, not getting the club shut down. And that's really, I guess, where that trust came from the nightclub owners in the industry, I guess best I could say.
So what was your marketing like then? Was it just passing out flyers?
I used every single channel of marketing. I did direct, passing out flyers, face-to-face interaction. Back in the day, I was one of the first ones with a mailing list machine. I remember actually, it was like thing was like this big. Now they just scan your ID at the door, and we would snap your license, and we'd have the VCR tapes, and I'd have my ex girlfriend and her friends literally going through license by license so we could actually have your address. Then we could then mail it out for the event for the next week. Then as things progressed, it was text messages, social media. When social media wasn't even just started, I ran all MySpaces, live events in the entire East Coast. So I was like worked with MySpace as a pioneer of when they broke through in social media scene, which became everything we look at today. I ran all their live events in the East Coast. So I did every channel. In the beginning, I did some radio at first because I thought it was cool. Like when I was a kid, you always hear people's names on the radio. So like I did radio to hear like Tommy D Primetime Presents, and I was like, oh wow, I'm cool, you know. But as time passed, I realized the radio value really wasn't worth the money. So I really focused on a really personal interaction business, face to face. It was flyers, but it was face to face, speaking to people outside clubs, college campuses, in malls, large promotion street team of mine that would go out, bust their ass, and hustle through any weather, anything across the board, and get to know people, build relationships, and invite people. And then I built a reputation and a name for myself that my name would carry a lot. Just even my name being on at a party, there was a good chance the whole place was going to be packed out just from that. After a lot of hard work and a lot of failures, obviously.
Now, considering that you're successful in New Jersey during this period, did you have any run-ins with the Mafia?
Yeah, I dealt with the Mafia actually for my first party in New Jersey, actually in 1997. The Mafia owner's name was Jimmy Famulera. And I was making a lot of money packing his club out. His club was dead. That was my Wednesday night party. I packed the club out. Then I was packing his club 5 nights a week. And he literally told me I had to give him half my money. I told him not happening. So he pulled a gun out on me. I told him, I ain't give me your money, shoot me. Then he put a gun in my mouth. After he put the gun in my mouth, then I told him, listen, you can kill me, obviously. Nothing I can do. He had his security guard tower, this huge guy standing right there. I said, but your club made no money. Right now, you're making probably $70,000 a week at your bar from me. So I'm going to walk out this door. You can put a bullet on my head, or you can let me walk out and keep making money. So the Mafia let me keep doing business because they wanted to make money. I had a lot of Mafia threaten me. I had a lot of Mafia. I fended them off. But they're different than Live Nation. They let me do business, and I never paid them a dollar. Live Nation wiped me out.
Well, okay, let's go there then. So tell me about your confrontation with Live Nation.
So I grew in the club business to the top. I'd done every major celebrity from Paris Hilton, the Kardashians breaking out, Chris Brown, Kid Cudi, Snoop Dogg, you name it, DJ Tiesto, and I come from the house music world. So I grew to the top. I won the number one, recently I just won the number one sound system in the world, beating out Amsterdam when out of New Jersey, which I never thought I'd win. That's another whole story. Oof. Nerve-wracking. So I got to the top as a promoter between New York, New Jersey, Miami. I really couldn't get much bigger. So I plateaued. So to me, the next progression was moving on to the festival business. And I was a pioneer of house music before it was cool, before it was called EDM. And I saw in 2010 that house music was going to go mainstream. It was going to be the new rock and roll boom. I made a 10-year deal with the State Fair Meadowlands. Anybody not familiar with that? It's the largest carnival festival in New York, New Jersey. 500,000 attendees a year, 4 weeks a year. They had a brand new concert space, home of the Jets and the Giants. I'm a Jets fan, don't hate. At least I'm loyal, right?
Yeah, right. There's a long conversation there too.
At least they're loyal. At least I'm a loyal person. See, I can fight for something, you know? Home of the Jets and Giants. It was a brand new $2 billion stadium, and it was right there. And it was a 10-year exclusive deal to produce all concerts, events, and festivals. My start off was house music, EDM, where I came from. to produce that EDM festival. And it would have been the largest one in the East Coast, if not the nation, until Live Nation found out about it and wiped it out.
Have you ever noticed that mixing vocals is often the hardest part of getting a track to sound right? You boost, you compress, you add effects, and it still doesn't feel professional. So, to make it easier, I put together a simple mini course on vocal mixing that walks you through the exact steps to get the vocals sounding clear and upfront. If you're interested, scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the show notes. Now, back to today's conversation. Okay, what did they do then? Did they come to you first and did they demand that you pay them, or they just say, we don't want this guy in our orbit?
Yeah, they definitely didn't come to me first. They went to the owner of the State Fair Meadowlands. That was the person I had the contract with that ran the Carnival Festival. They went to him, told them they were going to block all my talent. They're going to block all the ticketing, and they were going to get me kicked out. They went to the New Jersey Sports Authority. That's the owner of the Meadowlands, the landlord. Badmouthed me to the powers that can be. Said we're thieves, robbers, me and my partners, and they were kicking us out. They were going to block all our talent worldwide if we didn't partner with them. So then the owner of the State Fair Meadowlands asked me to have a meeting because Live Nation said they're blocking the whole festival and they're going to block all our tickets from Ticketmaster, and no ticket, no show, obviously, you know? So he asked us to meet with Live Nation executives.
And did you meet with them?
Yes, Al Dorso was a great guy. So respectfully, I met with just so you know, I want to go back in time here. I didn't know who Live Nation was. I was huge in the industry, but they did rock and roll. Heard of them. I never came across them in 15 years. They never bothered me. I never bothered them. Last thing I suspected was them. I was worried about other EDM promoters trying to steal my concept and festival. So I was so secure, locking this contract and making sure it was so tight. But last thing I suspected was Live Nation. Went in with my partners and we met with Live Nation executives. The president of Live Nation, New York City, which Michael Rapino, their CEO at the time, said was their largest market in the United States, Jason Miller, and their VP of talent of New York and New Jersey, the second most powerful position, John D. Esposito, known as John D, through their company. And when we walked in the door, I was hoping I could give them like a kid show or a rock show, get them off my back. They came right in. We want EDM. It's EDM or nothing. If you do not partner with us, they came in like animals. We're going to kick you the fuck out of your contract. There's loopholes in your contract. The loopholes, just so you know, was I needed to produce talent. And they then told me, we're going to block all your talent from the William Morris Agency, from Tiesto, block his dates worldwide if they perform for you. We're going to block every major premium EDM artist from you worldwide if you do not partner with us. I had millions of dollars in offers to artists at the time. This day and age, that sounds super low. But back then in the EDM world, it's equivalent to $10, $15 million today, I would say. They were savage like animals. I'm making it sound really nice on our podcast right here. But they were just attacking. They told me to kick out my two partners, Vito Bruno and John DiMatteo, partner with them. They'd fund the whole entire festival. They would allow all the talent to perform, and I would get 50% of the festival. I only had a handshake deal with my partners at the time. However, my dad, he had passed away when I was younger, but I had learned from him, your word is your bond. And I had a handshake deal, and I wasn't going to break a handshake deal over these guys threatening me and to kick these guys out. So I told them I'm not kicking them out of the festival. They said, well, if you don't, I defended us. I was like, we're going to get talent still. Because like my one partner, John DiMatteo, back in the day, it was like I'll analogy it to like Mike Tyson. Like if boxing back in the day, if you wanted Mike Tyson, you called Don King. If you wanted Tiesto, you called John DiMatteo. This was our world EDM. I was a pioneer and so were my partners of this. Live Nation, they hadn't even done it. They didn't even know what they were doing. They were way behind the eight ball, like their CEO said. His fear at this time, he's in papers, saying was they were behind the eight ball. They needed to acquire or hire EDM promoters before they locked up festival spaces like myself. And that's what we did. And so that's why they wiped us out. When I defended us, they'd said they were going to block all our tickets from Ticketmaster. And I was like, what are you talking about? I do business with Ticketmaster. Are you going to block my tickets? We own them. I thought they were bullshitting. This is right around the time of the merger. I didn't know that. When I went outside, I did a little Google search. Live Nation bought Ticketmaster. I was like, yeah, we're in a lot of trouble.
Okay, so that happens then, and you decide you're going to fight them, right? There's no other way around it. Either cave or you fight.
Well, I didn't back down. I wasn't going to kick my partners out. So that's what it was.
And then what happened from there?
We had millions of dollars out to the talent agencies. Some of the talent agencies, like the William Morris agency, that Live Nation's president told me was their exclusive agency that I was getting no talent from because they own it. They wanted to partner with us right before this in my events, in my festivals. They all stopped answering the phone calls. All stopped answering the emails. Those loopholes Live Nation talked about in the thing will get you kicked out. There's loopholes. The loophole was I needed to produce talent by a certain date. Everything went dark. I ended up, I kept fighting, trying to produce it anyway, underground channels, you name it, across the board, things I've never done in the past or ever, just on the EDM side, just so you know, we were projecting $100 million over 10 years at the time, besides all the other festivals, Latin, UFC, you name it, across the board. This is a turnkey operation. And then everything went dark, and we were unable to secure talent, and we were then kicked out of the contract thanks to Live Nation. And I'll prove it at trial.
What did you do then? Were you out of the business at that point?
I wasn't out of the businesses at that point. I was extremely depressed, you can say, that's for sure. As I put everything into this for, a couple of years, this was a lot of planning, a lot of work. But I was nominated as the #1 promoter by New Jersey Star Ledger, which is the largest publication in out of New Jersey, and it's the largest publication out of a state in the United States. And by the fans, I was voted, and my name was up there. And when I was going through this, my name was then pulled off by the New Jersey Star Ledger when there was only about 4 people up there, and I was told by several people, Live Nation wanted my name review taken off because they wanted to teach a lesson to somebody that was going to stand up to them like me. They badmouthed me. I allege everything I'm saying. It happened. I'll prove it. They badmouthed me all over the place, ruined my reputation. The clubs didn't answer the phones. The agents didn't answer the phones. And I was then wiped out of the business. I ended up going homeless. I went from a few months before at my birthday party drinking champagne with Snoop Dogg, Joel Santana, a couple months before Paris Hilton, to going homeless. Then I had to find a job, and found a job selling first. Never had a job in my life. I always worked for myself since I was 16 years old, 15 years old. And then I found a job selling windows and then cable door to door, just to survive, and then to fund, after I decided to sue Live Nation, to fund my litigation against them.
Okay, well, let's go there then, because this has been a long slog for you with the litigation. And I would guess they would think, well, we'll just string this out as long as we can because he can't possibly hang in for that long. That must have been the strategy, right?
Yeah, well, the strategy's been working. In the beginning, my lawyers projected this trial to take, we were going to go with antitrust, which is what the DOJ sued them for. I have almost the same complaint as the DOJ, except I believe I have a lot stronger evidence, respectfully. But we went with tortious interference, which is very similar because they didn't want it to be 2 to 3 years. They wanted it to be 1 year. So they said I'd be in front of a jury within 1 year. Live Nation was ordered by a federal magistrate, a federal judge, to turn over discovery within 30 days. 4 years later, I can't even count how many times we went back and forth to those courts and paid for the lawyers to go back to the court, saying, can we please have the discovery? Finally, my lawyer basically wrote a letter to the court and said, we know my plaintiffs are overstaying their welcome, asking for the discovery, but they're entitled to it. We only got 5% of the discovery, but the relevant discovery of the actors that did this to me, we probably got 1% total. We then ran out of money, and we had to just go with what we had because there was nothing, we couldn't afford to keep going for any further. So their strategy of delay, confuse, pressure, it works. And they kept this strategy going for close to 15 years right now. And it's working. My witnesses are getting older. a huge supporter of mine that had found an expert report of mine that you probably had seen passed on to the Department of Justice, FTC, and the Senate. Congressman Pascrell, because it was accidentally uploaded by on Pacer by Live Nation's attorneys. It was Attorney General of New Jersey for the Department of Justice, Philip Sillinger, that uploaded it, or his team. He passed away by old age, and my witnesses. We come from the club world. We're not the healthiest people. People partied a lot, especially a lot of them, and a lot of them were like in their 60s and stuff when this started. That's their strategy. They're winning.
But it's still going on, and you're getting closer to a trial, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting ever, and I'm taking it to a trial. I had a firm trial date of March 5th, I believe that was like 2024. Then Live Nation wanted another mediation for the 15th time. Respectfully, the court wanted another one, which I respect the court. And now I'm coming up on a hearing next Tuesday, November 18th, which is a major hearing. There's really nothing left. I'm entitled to a jury trial right now by law. And that's where we're at.
Are you working with the Department of Justice in all this, since they have litigation occurring as well?
That one, respectfully, I won't confirm or deny.
But they have something similar going on.
If you look at the Department of Justice's complaint against Live Nation, and you look at mine, original complaint I'm one of the first victims of the Ticketmaster Live Nation merger in 2011. I'm not the only victim. Fans are the victim every single day that sit on those queues that are getting ripped off. But I'm one of the first victims. And my complaint is very similar to the Department of Justice's complaint as it sits today.
Okay, I don't know if this is covered or not, but it's something that I think every fan, every concert ticket buyer wants to know, and that's the convenience charges. And if there's one thing that upsets a ticket buyer, it's having a face value of one thing and then having to pay something else is substantially higher. I've been told from insiders that the convenience charge is not actually by Ticketmaster, that it's really the artists, that they want the price to seem lower than it actually is, so that's they're getting the convenience charges. So what do you know about that?
I've seen it totally differently. I've seen it both ways, but where I've seen it, where it's controlled by Live Nation. The artist is at the mercy of Live Nation. The artist listens to Live Nation. The artist has no control over Live Nation. The Live Nation has full control over the artist. If they survive, they die. Well, not die, but if they make money or they're wiped out of the industry. I think maybe we're talking about some of his dynamic ticketing, which I was on a documentary in Australia, and I believe the minister banned dynamic ticketing there, which is great. But the biggest thing where these ticket prices are increased, which I allege is by Live Nation's illegal rebate scheme, where they work with the venues, not by choice by the venues, some of them state-owned, and make the costs get inflated in turn for a higher kickback into their pocket, where the artist doesn't get it, the independent promoter who they're working with doesn't get it, only Live Nation gets it. And it's passed directly onto the fan and causes the ever-increasing ticket prices. These rebates, illegal as I allege, I believe it's a criminal conspiracy in the billions, and I tend to prove it at trial. If you take them away, you'll drop ticket prices by 30 to 40% overnight. And I don't say this lightly. I say this because I have their cooked books. Their cooked books. And the artists know nothing about this, because what are you going to tell the artist? Hey, I'm just ripping you off right here. An independent promoter. You lost 50,000 on a show, but we're in the back end. High five. We made $500,000. That's the biggest thing I believe is the increase of the ticket prices. That's information that I have that was confirmed by my leading expert, Dr. Richard Barnett. He wrote the book on the entertainment industry, the concert industry. If your kids or my kids, anybody's kids go to college in the US or in the world for concert industry, you read Dr. Richard Barnett's book, and he confirmed this through all their internal documents in my expert report that was released by Congressman Pascrell out to the DOJ and FTC and Senate.
Tommy, what do you hope to get out of this?
What I hope now to get out of this is the scene to be fixed. Number one, fans to stop being ripped off. As you said, sitting in those lines and his queue lines, and all of a sudden it's went from $50 to $800. People paying $1,000 a ticket. Come on, let's be realistic. And like, these are regular common work people that are paying these tickets. People think they're like, it's only the rich. No, people choose, do I make a car payment? Do I miss a car payment? Do I miss electricity? Do I miss rent to take my kid to a show? To a Bad Bunny show, Taylor Swift show. And that's what they do so many times. And that shouldn't be. And so I'm really, number one, doing this for the fans right now to get a fair industry. And then the scene that I love and I always love, and I want my kids. I have an 11-year-old that wants to promote concerts. You can't right now with Live Nation. I'm like, I didn't go to college. You go. You can't do this with Live Nation. I want independent promoters to be able to thrive again. There used to be so much competition. Competition's great in any business, any industry. There used to be so much creativity. Artists. There used to be so much artist development. I developed so many artists. So many other independent promoters did. We developed so many artists across the board. Now there's no artist development. Live Nation picks and chooses. And then for the artists, I never blame the artists. People are like, why don't you blame the artists for this? It's not their fault. Their choice. You either make $1,000, $100, or make nothing. I don't blame the other independent promoters. You either bow to the ring of Michael Rapino, their CEO, or make nothing and get wiped out like me. So, but I want this scene to thrive. I want these artists to be able to pick. Like if there was 10 food trucks, one that had better production, lower cost, who they can pick and choose to perform for. Independent promoters, pick and choose who they can, do an event for. Now it's Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and that's it. There's nothing more. There is no entertainment industry anymore. It's a Live Nation entertainment industry. That's it.
There's been a lot of contraction, across the board. One of the things that I lament is the number of clubs that have closed down. And really, there's a handful left, and even they're struggling. And, that's the farm team for artists, really. That's where they learn their trade, especially smaller ones, smaller clubs. So I lament that, but I don't know if this will help that particular cause if you do win.
Absolutely. Where do you think I came from? Where do you think all these other independent promoters came from? But you know what? They've all been acquired, hired, or wiped out. So if the independents promoters don't count people out with creativity, are able to thrive again. I was told there could never be a Wednesday night. I packed a Wednesday night. You know how many promoters have been told there couldn't be stuff and done it? Independence, you come up with so much creativity. So it's not the same old stuff. And then you're able to develop new artists, new DJs, new artists, new singers, different theme parties, creativity. And that's why the scene thrived. Live Nation has effectively wiped that out. And that's why the club scene is dead. And also, back in 2010, did you pay $1,000 to go to a ticket? A show? You pay $1,000 to go to a show? Who can afford to go to one show, pay $1,000, and then say, cool, let me go out Tuesday night to party, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? It's not affordable. Live Nation's drawn out that industry and destroyed it because they made it unaffordable for you to go to a concert.
Okay, Live Nation aside for a second, what don't people know about promoters that you wish they did?
One thing I guess I wish people know is it takes a lot of work. When I got to the top and I'd be sitting there hanging out with all the top celebrities and chilling, people would be like, yo, this is awesome, man. This is cool. You just get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to just chill with a celebrity and drink some champagne. Nah, you work your ass off for it. You want to be successful in this industry. It's 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's all about the grind, the hustle, and that's what it takes, So that's what I would people to look at. Because over the years, through my success, people still didn't see that. Even though I'd be on the front lines working with my street soldiers, I call them the ones passing flyers out. I got to the top. I still went out in negative 10-degree weather, owning nightclubs, winning the #1 sound system in the world, passing the flyers out with them, having people take flyers, smack me in the face, and they don't even realize I run the whole entire club or own it. So that's what I'd look people to know.
Okay, let's go to the #1 sound system for a second, since I'm a sound guy. Tell me how that happened. Was that a goal?
It actually wasn't a goal. My goal was to put on in New Jersey the best sound system you could possibly put on, better than New York, better than Miami, better than Vegas. That was my goal. So I brought in a system called Turbo Sound at the time with my team, Joe Lodi, who was a partners of mine with Eric Hortense, the Sound Factory, which is a legendary club in New York City. The owner, Richard Grant, I thank him, passed away, taught me a lot of stuff. We brought the Turbo. It was the first Turbo Sound was really for stadiums. It was like for Prince concerts. I brought it into a nightclub. So when I won the #1 sound system in the world, I was nominated for it by Club Systems magazine. I never thought I was going to win. There was like 6 nominees, and I was down in Miami at the Winter Music Conference, and I was with Tommy Lee, if you know, from Motley Crue. I used to be good friends with him. I did his first DJ appearance in the United States and some of his U.S. tours. He got really drunk, got lit, got carried out. Everybody's dressed in suits that are nominated. I'm just dressed chilling in a hoodie like this. And then all of a sudden, I was drinking Hennessy with him. We were both lit. And then they said, #1 sound system award, Tommy D, Club Bliss. I had no speech prepared. Learn a lesson right there. So I got on the stage and was like, I want to thank my sound guy, Joe Lodi. I want to thank my team. And yeah, let's all do shots. Everybody seemed pretty fired up in the crowd about that. But I learned a lesson there. Make sure you always have a speech if you don't think you're going to win. And that was one of the biggest audiences I ever spoke in front of. So.
Okay, Tommy, last question. You've been through quite an ordeal here. And actually, if you take your business going back to the good times as well, and going back to when you first started, there's a long train of you being in the business. What's the best piece of advice that maybe someone imparted to you, or maybe you learned along the way?
Well, I would say starting off before Live Nation, and if Live Nation's gone, was if you want it and people tell you you can't get it, put your foot on the gas, you can get it. Don't stop. Don't let people tell you can't get your dreams. I was told 16, 17 years old, you could never create a club empire. You can never do this, by my family. They support me now, but, and if you believe in something and you work hard enough for something, I think you can accomplish anything. That's the advice I give. And don't quit. And if people tell you to quit, don't throw in the towel. Bust your ass, but it ain't just a dream. You got to work your ass off for that dream. Be willing to go 20 hours, 7 days a week. If you are, then go for it. If not, then go to college or just take your 9-to-5 job.
Thanks for listening and being in my inner circle. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, you can send them to questions@bobbyowsinski.com. You can also learn all about the latest in music, audio, and production news, and find out about openings for my latest online classes at bobbyowsinski.com. This is Bobby Owsinski. I will see you next time.